Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Aryantanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Siddhanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Ayaryanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Uvajjayanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Savanam. Omkaram Bindu Sanyuktam Nityam Dhayanti Yoginam Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Omkaraya Namo Namo. नमः समय साराय स्वानुभूत्या चकासते चित् स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावान्तरच्छिदे अज्ञानतिमिरन्धानां ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः ये स्वरूपसमजा विना पाम्यो दुःखनन् समजाव्यो ते पदनमो श्री सद्गुरु भगवान् परम पुरुष प्रभु सद्गुरु परम ज्ञान जेणे आप्युभाननी तेने सदा प्रणाम देह छता जेनी दशा वर्ते देहाती ज्ञानीना चरणमा हो वंदन अगणित आज्ञानीना चरणमा हो वंदन अगणित ओम नमः सिद्धेभ्यो ओम नमः सिद्धेभ्यो ओम श्री सुदात्माने नमः जय जिनेन्द्र today is April 13, 2020, Monday, and we are doing our Atmasiddhi class. This is our second class. Last week we had one class. Today we are going to have second class. So we'll continue where we were from last time. Important thing we have to see in this today's event that yesterday was important event happened, and that was Srimad Rajchandra ji's Deh Vilay Day. He left this mundane world, and this was a very sad day for all of us, because at the very young age of 34, he just has to leave this world. But the immense amount of thing that he left for us, it is just amazing amount of spiritual knowledge he left for us. Only he lived for 34 years, but he did the work of more than 100 years of age. And the main important thing that he has given us is Atmasiddhi Shastra, and that's what we are following, that's what we are discussing. So we will start talking from there. So, having said that, I will bring the slide from where we were left out last week, and then we see where we are. Okay, let me share, and okay. So Srimad Rajchandra, he created this Atmasiddhi Shastra. That's what you are talking. He was born in 1867, died in 1901, and that was yesterday was his death anniversary. And we pay our homage to him. We miss him, but only the best homage that we can ever give it to him is to walk on the pathway he showed it to us. And most important thing, all these poems that he created, out of which Atmasiddhi stands out such a great thing that it has an immense amount of value, and that's what we have decided to discuss, and we'll be discussing now onwards. So some of the slides we already have done it, so I'll just go into the one which we are coming. Okay, here. So, what is Atmasiddhi? Atmasiddhi is a scripture that he created. He created. How did he create? It's a scripture which says method of how to experience the soul substance. My journey, spiritual journey, begins with experiencing of the soul substance. When I experience a soul substance, that is called self-realization. or it's called enlightenment, or it can call Atma Anubhuti or Samyak Darshan. So those are the different words that's been used. So method of how to experience. He shows the path. How can we achieve that state? The scripture is in the form of question from the student and the answer from the master. Now, master, yes, we understand that is him. He is a self-realized person with an immense amount of control on his language. But who is the student? The student is also an eligible student. The student has obtained eligibility. You want to go to college, you want to go to certain college and certain subject you want to take as a major, you have to have eligibility. You want to go to science courses. Have you taken science and math in the high school or not? So you have to have eligibility to get admission. Here, this student is an eligible student. He has obtained eligibility, and those eligibility again will be described in the Atmasiddhi Shastra. But at least over here we can say what eligibility one has to have it to ask the question to the master, the self-realized master. So that eligibility has to be in the form of the toxic emotions to be subsided minimally. I mean, to extreme minimal expression of the toxic emotions, anger, deceit, ego, greed, they should be totally under control. Then, second thing has to be the knowledge. Knowledge has to be there also. The inquisitive nature has to be there. Third thing, one has to have desire for to get the liberation. Fourth one will be to have kind of apathy from this transmigratory world. And fifth one is a compassion towards all the living beings. So the five different types of eligibility has to be there. Then it's called an eligible student who has a capacity to ask questions. So this scripture is like eligible student who is asking question to the master, and he is getting guidance from the master. It was written on Ashwin Krishna, first day of Ashwin Krishna, 19 Vikram Samvat 1952. English year was 1896. In 1896, he wrote this scripture. When we look at the so this is the time that he wrote all the scripture, and 1952 was a Vikram Samvat, which is an Indian calendar. So it's almost more than 100 years right now passed by for this scripture, and actually 100th year of this scripture celebration was done on a grand scale all over the world, and so we were fortunate enough to attend that function in the San Francisco area at that time. So when Srimadji wrote down this Atmasiddhi, there was no Xerox copy or a keyboard or computer or voice over, whatever. He wrote down physically with a pen and paper. When he wrote down, actually, there was a person, one of the person who was following him. His name was he's one of the disciple. His name was Swadhay. Srimad is 29-year-old and Sobhagbai is a 73-year-old. And so 73-year-old is a student and teacher is a 29-year-old young man. Sobhak said that, my age is coming up and I'm getting weaker and everything, and now I want to get a right faith and enlightenment prior to my death. So, can you please do me a favor and write something in the poem form about the scriptural message? So, Kripaludev obliged, so Srimadji obliged, and he wrote down this scripture for him. And at that time, he made 4 copies. Remember, not a Xerox copy, it was written, physically written 4 copies. And he advised to be given to 4 people only. One was Sobhagbai, who was the instigator, who was the instrumental cause for this creation of the Atmasiddhi. The second one was Laluji Muniraj. Third one, Ambalal, we'll talk about him in the next slide. And fourth one was his partner in the business, Manik Chand Javeri, with whom Srimadji was doing business in a Bombay, jewelry business. So this is the picture it shows how it was created. Somebody's getting a message. What's the message? Do 4 copies to exist? Do they exist? I think they are one of the. If you see, do I have it here? The picture of it, I don't have it. But I have a book, Xerox copy of that book. I mean, those stanza that is there. Next week I'll show you that one. And at a Jain temple, at Phoenix Jain temple, we also have a handwritten Atmasiddhi copy that has been blown out in a big frame, and it's there. So hopefully I'll remember to bring all the pictures for that next week. So Simatji was asked by Sobhagbai, this is Sobhagbai, 73-year-old person in the Saurashtra. He is sitting in Gujarat in Naryad. He went out for a walk in the evening, came back, and this is Naryad. There is a small temple of Mahadev, and behind the Mahadev temple, there is a small room, and there is also a lake there. And on that small room, he sits down. And there's a table over here, and he's sitting down writing non-stop, hour and a half, 142 stanzas, just like that he wrote down. And this Ambalal Bhai, remember I told you Ambalal Bhai, he was his kind of personal secretary at the time, and standing with a lantern, he's standing like a log, not moving at all for an hour and a half, so that Srimadji does not get disturbed at all. And he wrote down, and this creation was done at the time. Today also, if you go to India, go to Nadia, which is about 50 kilometers from Ahmedabad, or about 30, 40 kilometers from Baroda. And this place is there. It's been renovated. The Dharampur group, with under the guidance of Gurudev Sri Rakesh Bhai, they renovated and they made it absolutely stunning. That lake has been really revitalized, and in the lake you have a pathway that Srimadji's murti is there, and on this room, this is the recreation of this scene is done, and outside on the wall, whole Atmasiddhi is written also in the wall, engravement is done. So if you go, please go and visit this place. It's kind of memorable place. The amazing amount of thing was created there, which has changed so many lives all over the world. So that's Atmasiddhi Shastra creation. So now, what is this Atmasiddhi Shastra? It is 142 stanza. So 142 stanza, but what does it represent? How do I know? I mean, I want to know something, but I want to put my feet, I want to wet my feet in this ocean of knowledge. I want to drown in it. But then I want to go inside. I want to put my feet one foot at a time, just like on summertime on the beach. I want to go to the ocean and I start putting my feet, one foot and second foot, and then I dive in. Similarly, over here, I want to dive in, but how can I do that without knowing? So here we have some idea about stanza number 1 all the way up to 42 stanza is a preface. It's good preface about what is this Shastra about, what's the scripture about, who is the eligible person to get it, and all those things. And we'll see on the next slide somewhat more detail about this one. Right now we are just dividing in the four different sections. So 1 to 42 stanza is preface, then 43 to 118 stanza is description of 6 tenets. Soul is there, soul is there eternally, soul is a doer, soul is an enjoyer, liberation is there, path to liberation is there. So there are 6 tenets, and they are in the question answer form. This eligible student, as we said, he's an eligible student, he's a learned student. Learned student. Gurudev Sri Kanji Swami, for example, he used to say, and I remember this thing when I used to go to Songar. I was a small kid, not knowing anything about it, right? So he will say, "Tu marine door thais," means after death you'll become an animal. And I was wondering why somebody sitting at the high place will say something like this. And it was questioning in my mind, in the young mind. I was about 10, 12, 13-year old, and I still didn't understand what he meant by saying that way. Then later on, now, after several decades, now I realize what he meant by that. He meant, he said that the very reason that you are sitting in this assembly of lecture hall, the very fact that you are sitting in the assembly hall, that means you are an eligible person. Remember this eligible student we are talking? So you are eligible person. That's what we can stamp it out for you. If you're not eligible, you won't be sitting over here. So he put so much faith on me, saying that you are an eligible student. Then he said that if I don't do anything, then if I die without doing anything, then at least I will not go to Nigot, the lowest form of life, or I will not go to the hell. Lowest possible I may go will be animal life, 5 sense sentient being animal. Remember that 5 sense sentient being in the form of animal means? Mahavir Swami got his right faith enlightenment in the life of lion. Parshnath Bhagwan got the enlightenment in the life of an elephant. So even in the 5 sense sentient elephant or lion or 5 sense sentient animal, I have a chance to get Samyak Darshan if I fail to get it this life. So remember that Guru, the enlightened teacher, he put so much faith on me that simply I'm sitting there means I'm an eligible person. So these kind of 6 tenets are in the question answer form. The student is asking question, intelligent question, and he puts a great amount of argument for his questions. It will take time for us to understand the question, forget about the answer. That kind of intelligent student is there asking questions. And the enlightened guru gives the answer, appropriate answers. So that's a 43 to 118 stanza is question answer for 6 tenets. 119 to 127, the student is obtaining enlightenment, or he found out the pathway to enlightenment. he has a tremendous inclination to obtain enlightenment, because now he got the real pathway. And as a result, in last 15 stanza, 128 to 142, is a concluding stanza, and he is saying, thank you, Guru, thank you. And also the teacher is giving some final instructions. So this is the outlay of Atmasiddhi Shastra 142 stanza. Having said that, now, you know, we always thank our teacher. Remember, the teacher is called the best teacher if the students are best in his or her class. Can we have a teacher given the best teacher in the country, and in her class all the students are always failing? Still she can get best teacher award, right? Forget it. Only best teacher means the students are best. So if I want to say Srimadji is a best teacher for me, teaching me the pathway to liberation, then I have to become best student also. Buck stops at me. To become best student, what can I do? Well, I'm going to throw some of homework to you people. I'm going to challenge you people, and I know that you are ready to accept this challenge because you are eligible students. You are a tough kids. You wanted to learn this one. So you are inquisitive students, eligible students. So my request that if we want to consider to be the best student, then together we should make effort to learn this Atmasiddhi by heart. We can memorize this stanza. 142 stanza is not a big deal. You can do one stanza at a time. Decide that you will do one stanza a day, or better yet, just say you'll do 5 stanza in a week. Remember, 5 stanza in a week and 52 weeks, you are done with this 142 stanza within 1 year time. Make that challenge, make that determination. You will really shine in front of Srimadji. He will just say, wherever he is, he will say, thank you that you are my best student. So please, would you do it? So do it, whatever way you would like to do it. It's simple thing. And don't say you don't have material. Go on the internet, everything is available. If you still don't have it, let me know. I'll send you the transliteration of all the stanza, and plus audio also, so you will be able to remember and sing. And I think it will be the greatest homage on Srimadji's death anniversary. It will be the greatest homage that we can offer to him at his lotus feet. So please do that. This is my humble request to you. I did that, and of course, you can say, okay, you know, I was born and brought up, I can read Gujarati and everything, so it's easy. Yes, I was privileged that way, and it's easier for me, but that doesn't mean it's not easier for you. You are a tough fighter, you're a tough kid. You can make it, you can make it, you can make it if you make determination. Who knew that coronavirus will come and we all will be locked down in the house? Now what? You tons of time at your hand. Yes, you're working from home and everything, but at the same time, you have time at your hand. It's a busy man finds the time. So if you say you are busy, you have time. Okay, having said that, now we are going to dissect each and every of these 4 sections, what they mean. So stanza 1, or 1 up to 42, what it says, there is a first, it comes Mangalacharan comes. What is Mangalacharan? You have always heard this word Mangalacharan, Mangalacharan, Mangala. We don't know what Mangalacharan means. So we have to understand what Mangalacharan. The two words are there in Mangalacharan, and I'll take you to Sanskrit. As if this Gujarati 142 stanza is not enough, I'm going to take you to world of Sanskrit. And this Mangalacharan is two words, Mangal and Acharan. Acharan is a conduct. And Mangal, word Mangal we are going to dissect right now. Word Mangal can be dissected two ways. Manga and La. Manga, La. Manga means auspiciousness. La means to have it. Means one having auspiciousness is called Mangal. Another meaning of Mangal, Mang, word Mang plus Gal. Mang means inauspiciousness, Pap. Gal means remover. So one which brings the auspiciousness and removes the inauspiciousness is called Mangal. And that kind of conduct that I'm doing is Mangalacharan. So now we understand what the meaning of these words are. Anyway, so then after doing Mangala, plus Indian philosophy, this is the Indian spiritual philosophies, there are certain rules. Unwritten rules are there. That every scripture when it starts with Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan means the author is taking vow that I'm writing this scripture and please God have me complete this scripture without any unforeseen problems. So that kind of inclination you are showing that I would like to have this scripture getting cleared out, completed out without any obstruction on the pathway. Now, in Mangalacharan also, author always mentions what's the subject matter. You are going to the bookstore and you saw a book, you just saw the look at the book, and you started seeing on the back page, it describes a book. What is this book about? And if you like that subject matter, you buy it. If you don't, then you walk out. Here also in Mangalacharan, there is subject matter is mentioned. What is the subject matter in this scripture that I'm going to write down? It also says under whose guidance I wrote this scripture. Means omniscient Lord, or my guru, or the holy scriptures, and my own experience of the soul. And then I'm writing something like that. So that also becomes part of Mangalacharan. Having said that, right away, Srimadji goes to work and says, hey, you know what? You are the blind ritualistic person. You continue doing ritual without understanding anything. Last week, I got a call from my sister-in-law from Ahmedabad, and one of the friends that they have it, that she had done IM bill. There was an IM bill only last week for 9 days. She was doing IM bill, and she cannot eat the food without oil and the sugar and the whatever. The IM bill food is kind of bland. This lady, she sat down and she vomited right on the table when she was taking her lunch, IM bill lunch, because she cannot tolerate that one. Now, why will you do it? Punish yourself. Punish the physical body. For what? If you cannot do it, cannot do it. I'd rather have at that day eat my regular meals, and do more Swadhyay. Here, by vomiting everything, whole days wasted, and now she is sick and tired and all the things. Whole days wasted. That's what you meant to do it? This is called blind ritualistic society. So so he wants these guys. And so I said, oh yeah, because Srimadji is getting really big slap on those people who are just blind ritualistic people. Right away he comes out and says, hey, wait a second, I'm also talking about people with a dry knowledge. They have simply knowledge of the books, of the scripture, and they can space it down. They can make the slides, they can make an English lecture, a Hindi lecture, all the things, but they cannot follow anything. They cannot follow simple ritual also, so that he can go towards the soul. A parrot was there, and the owner of the parrot taught him that, hey, you know what? The cat can eat the parrot and can kill the parrot. So he taught the parrot that just say, cat will eat the parrot, cat will eat the parrot. So this is the parrot. So he just remember, he keeps on singing that song day in and day out. Now the owner went out and the cat comes, and cat opens the door, and instead of flying away, the cat is opening the cage door. Instead of flying away, this dummy parrot keeps on saying that cat will eat the parrot, cat will eat the parrot, cat will kill the parrot. And cat did kill him. He kept on reciting same thing till the last breath. That's called dry knowledge. The knowledge is such, it has to be implemented. For example, if I give you an example, that I told my grandson, let's say my kids are big now, grandson. My grandson is sitting, for example, I say, hey, Ria, give me a glass of water. Uh-huh. Because he's playing video game on the computer. After family. Ria, can you bring a glass of water for me? Uh-huh. After family. Ria, can you understand what I'm talking to you? Bring a glass of water for me. Grandpa, chill. You say 3 times. Softly first time, firmly second time, harshly third time. So did she hear that message 3 times or not? She completely repeated all the 3 sentences on what tone I spoke. She did not, because she did not acted on that knowledge. Same way, spiritual knowledge you and me and everybody are getting, if we don't implement in our life, that knowledge has no value. So Srimadji says, hey, Shushka Gnani, or blind in the dry knowledge, I warn you too. The ritualistic person here and dry knowledge, you both are at fault. Now, he gives the definition of self-realization, self-realized person. What's the real definition of it? Then he explains nature of the true teacher and his characteristic. Over here, he talks about student, 1, 2, and 3. He talks about the second, third bullet is student. And then 5th bullet, he's also talking teacher's characteristics too. And then he says, give up the self-willed nature. Means whatever comes in my mind, any whimsical idea comes, and I said, that's it, I'm going to do it. Lockdown is there. No, I'm going to go out. Wait a second. Why is there lockdown? Why don't you listen to that? Why don't you understand? But I'm a self-willed person. Whatever comes in my mind, I'll do it. That's not right. So to give up self-willed nature and to accept discourses of the learned person, that's what the message comes there. Nature of the wrong faith person has been described. Nature of the right faith person is described. And introduction of the 6 tenets are being described up to stanza 42. So here we are. Then now 43 to 118 question answers are occurring. So introduction to the 6 tenets are there. question answer for the soul is there. Second is soul is eternal. That's a question. Soul is the doer. Soul is an enjoyer. So liberation is there, and path to liberation is there. Atma che, nitya che, atma che, nitya che, karta che, bhokta che, moksha, mokshno upay che. All six tenets are being described over here. So this is the very, very important way. Absolutely brilliant questions are there, and the answers are supreme answers are there. When the questions are there, you may say, he's right, student is right, whatever he's asking is right question. It has to be that way only. But then learned teacher gives the answer, then you see it opens your eyes and say, oh wow, this is what it is. So that's what six tenets are described up to 118 stanza. So that's where we are now. Now comes the third section. So knowing all the things, the student says, hey, you know what, I got the enlightenment. Because student keeps on working on his own spirituality as the stanza progresses. Student is no more, he is me. We are talking about me, myself, us. So we are talking about ourselves. We are the student. And as this Atmasiddhi stanza progresses, we start purifying ourselves, especially that kind of inclinations, let's put it that way. That now I'm on the verge of getting enlightenment. Here, student says, hey, I have seed of enlightenment. I already got enlightenment. Here in our case, if we don't get it, okay, at least we have severe inclination, severe auspicious inclination to obtain enlightenment. So he is saying, with learned saying, the student has obtained enlightenment. In our case, if we didn't get it, at least we have intense desire, intense inclination to obtain the enlightenment. You know, I'm very careful using word inclination versus desire. Desire means something which I don't have it. You have this phone, I want it. You have that thing, I want it. You have this nice house, I want it. That kind of thing which I don't have it and I want it, that's called desire. But inclination, lack of better words, we use inclination, but that means it's called bhav, bhavna, my contemplation, my inclination, which is coming from within. Enlightenment means purity of the soul. My soul is eternally pure. Only thing, I had never looked at it. My soul is eternally pure. But I have not made effort to look at it. Since time infinite, my attention is directed to the alien objects of the world. Worldly objects are my aim. I want to have a car. I want to have a better job. I want to have my kids to do great things. I want to have this. I want to have that. All the desires, I have it for the worldly object. But have you ever thought of who I am? Did you ever look into yourself about your purity of the self? It's pure, always pure, but I'm always busy looking outside. That's my problem. So now the student has looked within himself and he has obtained enlightenment. Now he says, he describes the nature of the understanding of the soul substance. How is the soul substance that he experienced? You went to a party and you just said, party was great, party was great. But what was greatness of the party? Can you please describe? And then you start describing the food was great, atmosphere was good, music was great, the weather was perfect, and all kind of things, you know. So here also, after obtaining enlightenment, he is describing the nature of the understanding of the soul substance. He expresses his gratitude to the teacher. Remember, my teacher can be the best teacher if I'm the best student. So now I'm going to give gift to my teacher. These are enlightened teacher. He has self-realized his soul. He does not care about material thing. He does not want any material objects as a gift. That reminds me a story of Mahabharata, that the teacher is a Drona. Drona is a teacher, and Arjun and 5 brothers are, and those 100 cousin brothers, they are his students. And Drona, he is a great teacher, and he made that Arjun the best hunter guy. He became the very expert in bow and arrow. Now, there's another poor boy named Eklavya, and he wanted to learn this archery knowledge. But Drone is not available, so he made the statue of the Drone. He made this, and then he learned by looking at the statue. And then he becomes a super expert archer. Now he goes to real Drone and he showed his archery. And Drone is kind of happy and little jealous that, hey, you know, this guy is better than Arjun. So Drone says, Gurudev, you were not there, but statue guided me through this whole thing. So I want to give you my Guru Dakshina, means I want to give you present. So Drone being a little bit cunningness was there with him, and he didn't want Eklavya to be the expert in the archery in the universe. So he tells Eklavya, give me your right hand thumb as a gift. Now, if I give it the right hand thumb, means I can't use the archery thing. And Eklavya, without stopping, he cut down his right thumb and gave it to Drone. Now, look here. The student is so amazing. He said, even real Drone was not there. It was a statue, but I learned archery. So what? I want to make my guru happy. So he just offers his everything. Similarly, the student over here expresses gratitude to the teacher and says, you know what, Guru, what can I give you? And Guru says, I don't need anything. I'm an enlightened person. I'm very happy getting engrossed in my soul substance. So this guy still expresses his gratitude, and he shows his respect to the learned teacher for showing the pathway. He says, thank you, Guruji, for showing me the pathway. So these are 119 to 127 stanza coming, and last stanza coming. It's a busy slide over here, but we'll go one thing at a time. It's just concluding remark. 15 stanzas are there, very, very concentrated, amazing stanzas. Possible pitfall for the seekers are shown because this is concluding. So lots of things which have been said, or whatever things which have not been said, everything gets included in this one. So possible pitfall for seekers are shown. Then 6 tenets with 6 philosophies are described. This is the one we'll be seeing next slide onwards. There are six philosophies, Indian philosophies are there. And in this Atmasiddhi Shastra, indirectly all those philosophies and their pitfalls are being addressed and said at the end why Jain philosophy is great. Not because we are Jains, but there are reasons given, there are arguments given, and that's why we can accept that which one is the best philosophy. You will be the judge. You don't have to get biased. You will be the judge. When we come to those sections in 128 to 142, we will talk all those six philosophies in detail and everything. And by that time, our base will be so strong that we'll be in a position to argue for and against. Third one is a treatment for the disease for the faulty notions regarding the soul. Here, my pitfalls were shown. Then the six philosophies are connected with the tenets. And then over here, treatment of my problem is shown over here. True Guru shows the pathway for the liberation. How he's going to show liberation? He's showing that, you know what, there's a mutual relationship of absolute and conventional point of view. This is an amazing detailed chapter. And it is coming in concluding remark. Kunkunacharya Dev in Samaysar, in 11th stanza, he wants the same thing. It tells the same thing. Vyavahara ne abhutartha darshit, shuddha ne bhutartha che, bhutartha ne ashrita jiva su, drashti nischay hoy che. Means, Kunkunacharya Dev in the 11th stanza of Samaysar says, you have to understand absolute way, absolute point of view, conventional point of view, and believe me, we will have hours and hours and hours of discussion on this orange slide because it's a very, very important relationship. Not to have one-sided view means not to have only absolute point of view, not to have conventional point of view. You are sitting in a boat with the two saddles, and you are just rowing the boat. Rowing the boat with two paddles, then your boat will go straight up. Or you are rowing with a one paddle only, you will go clockwise. Rowing with the other side, you will go anti-clockwise. You will be remaining at the same place. So you have to, you cannot have one-sided view only. And nature of that nature of the seeker and the guru both are being described again in the closing remarks, that what should be the ideal teacher, and at the same time what should be the ideal student also. Concerning 5 tenets, first 5, soul is there, soul is an eternal, soul is a doer, soul is an enjoyer, and liberation is there. So 5 tenets, when I know it, then the 6th one is my action. 6th one is there, that it says that is to be worshipped, means path to liberation is there. So that's the 6th one which we have to act on it. And ultimately, salutation to the passionless true teacher has been said in 142 stanza, gets completed that way. So now we know everything about Atmasiddhi in general. We have overview of it. Now we have some idea what we are going to go through it. And believe me, it's going to be an amazing, beautiful ride. And we all will be riding nicely, slowly, quietly, firmly, and with the inquisitive mind. We will make it, we will make it, we will make it. You know, I'm so excited that at least majority of you are born and brought up here. And at least you have this kind of an intention to learn. It itself tells me that best is yet to come for Jainism in North America, because you guys are inquisitive kids. You have voluntarily decided to learn this one, and it will be an amazing experience that you will have it. Believe me, I will do my level best and I will learn along with you. Okay. Having said that, now let's go and see what's coming next. Okay, scriptural references for 6 tenets. You know, Cruz, you just said Srimati wrote down 6 tenets in Atmasiddhi. I want to have reference. I can't live without references. I need to, you have to show me the references. Is there any mention of these 6 tenets before? Or Srimadji came out from his hat, something like that? It just came out from his mind? No, there are scriptural references are there. Sanmati Tork Prakran by Acharya Siddhasen Divakar that mentions about 6 tenets. Varta Samuchay by Acharya Haribhadra Suri also gives scriptural reference. Adhyatmasar, Samyakva Shatsthan Chaupai, Samskitna Sarsat Bolni Sajai, etc. Scripture also mentions about this 6 tenets. And Avashyak Sutra by Acharya Bhadrabahu also mentions this kind of thing. That means there is a previously so many acharyas from time infinite, since time of Mahavir, in the lineage of Mahavir, they have mentioned this thing. So it's nothing that was just came out of nowhere. Reference of Atmasiddhi also is given in the Acharang Sutra, Sutta Kutang Sutra, Samaysar, Pravachansar, Uttradhyan scripture. They mention about 6 tenets at different places. Many different ancient scriptures have mentioned about 6 tenets in different forms at different places. Gandharvad scripture also mentions about 6 tenets. Sankaracharya, Vatsayan, Vyas, etc. Non-Jain scholars have shown the answer for the scripture of the eternal soul. That means here we have established the seriousness and authenticity of the scripture. It's not that somebody came out from nowhere. And thereafter, after this Atmasiddhi Shastra, so many learned people have given critics on this Atmasiddhi Shastra. The very important one is a Gurudev Sri Kanji Swami. He gave 4 months lectures on Atmasiddhi Shastra in Rajkot when he was staying there for 4 months. There are so many other people like Gurudev Rakesh Bhai also obtained PhD on this subject. Manubhai Doshi in Chicago, he is 90 plus years old. He has written English translation of these stanzas. And not the least but important person is the grandfather of Nimisha Parekh. Nimisha is there, right? Nimisha, your grandpa. He gave lectures, and I'll confess that I was working very hard and I did not have much connections and everything, but my wife and your mom, they were the permanent fixture and they learned so much. And later on, your mom was kind enough to give me the cassette recording of your grandpa's lectures, and when I heard it, I said, oh my God, such a gigantic personality, and I missed out. But then I still had those lecture cassettes with me. So not to mention, but to mention some of the important people who have given the critiques on this Atmasiddhi Shastra. Anyway, so we can keep going further. We still have 5-7 minutes, but I'll just go. 6 tenets. Soul does exist. Atma che. Soul exists forever. Atma nitya che. Soul is a doer. Atma karta che. Soul is an enjoyer of its deeds. Atma bhokta che. Moksha means liberation is there. There is a path to liberation. Moksha no upaya che. These are the 6 tenets. And on the 6 tenets, now the whole thing builds up, and we'll be building it up, and we'll see why these 6 tenets are important. We may have a few more slides to chance to go through. Okay, so Atmasiddhi Shastra is the essence of all 6 philosophies. India is been considered to have 6 Indian philosophies are the main source of knowledge, spiritual knowledge in Indian subcontinent. In the previous class, I was been asked, what about Christianity and everything? They are the Abrahamic philosophies. they have no part of the Indian philosophies. So they are Muslim, Judaism, and Christianity, and they are different than Indian subcontinent philosophy. So 6 philosophies, Atmasiddhi is the essence of all those philosophies. Now, this kind of thing that Srimadji says, it's this, that's Atmasiddhi, this essence of all 6 philosophies. It's been mentioned in stanza 44 and 128, and we'll go through those stanza one at a time. For stanza 44.
समझावा परमार्थ ने कहा
There's a 44th stanza. It says, Shatsthana Samchik. The soul is there, soul is eternal, soul is doer, soul is enjoyer, liberation is there, path to liberation. That's 6 places that it includes all the 6 philosophies of the Indian philosophies, which we'll be learning on the next slide onwards. And that's why it's been said in stanza 44. Then stanza 128 also says the same thing. Let's see what it says. So it just says that this is concluding part coming in 128 part, 128 stanza. It says that all 6 philosophies are included in this 6 tenets. So when you just think about in detail, then you will not have any question about it. That's what Srimadji gives challenge to us. You can think about it, analyze it, and if you can't find the answer, come to me. So that's what he says about it over here. Now, so 6 Indian philosophies, what are those things? Mimamsa, Jain, Sankhya, Nayayik, Buddha, and Charvak. The 6 philosophies are there. And actually all the 6 philosophies, what it is, Mimamsa, that means there are 2 parts. Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa means Jaimini and Vedant. There are 2 philosophies. They depend on Vedic principles. Jain philosophy has 2 sects, Shwetambar, Digambar, and that does not depend on Vedic principles. It's an independent philosophy by itself. Sankhya, that's a Sankhya Darshan and Yog Darshan have similar principles, and they also are under Vedic principles. Nayayik, also same as a Vaisheshik, and they have similar principles, depends on Vedic principles. Buddhist philosophy, there are 5 different parts are there: Saumanik, Madhyamik, Sunyavadi, Vigyanvadi, and Vaibhashik. So they are also does not depend on Vedic principle. And there is a Charvak philosophy, which is nihilistic view or atheist view. So there are 6 philosophies in Indian subcontinent, and when you learn Atmasiddhi, you will learn all those things. Similarly, when you are learning the Samaisar also will have all these things answered. Why Jain philosophy? Why Jain philosophy is standing out so tall in front of any other philosophies? It doesn't make difference how many people follow anything. It's a perfect philosophy. It is given answer to every question one may have it, and it's been perfectly prescribed. And so Srimadji says, I give you challenge. If you learn Atmasiddhi Shastra and if you go in detail, you will have a capacity to just argue against any of the other philosophies of the Indian subcontinent. So that kind of the challenge he gives it to us to say that you learn this one. He just gives a stimulation to learn this one. So we take the vow that yes, we will learn and we will understand as much as possible. So we'll stop over here. And if you have any question, please give me a question so we can take 2-3 minutes. We have 1 minute left, but we can just do whatever questions you have, we'll answer. Go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask questions.
Hello, Kirit bhai.
Yeah.
Arshad desai bolu છું.
Kon?
Arshad.
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 Bola.
I would like to second your thought about આપણા નિમિષાના grandfather ની વાત કરી તમે હરિભાઈ ની.
Haribai, yeah.
I was there too.
Yes, you were there also. And, it's a sweet memories that we just, when we talk about him, his somber face, his quiet face comes on the front. And then we just say, my God, such a pious, amazing pious person, And
Yes.
that's really good. Yeah.
એમને ખરેખર રસ લાગેલો હતો આપણને.
Yes, yeah. He was really an instigator for us to learn so many things.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yes. All right. Okay. If not, then we'll do the closing. Let's do the closing. Okay. All right. Okay. Ji swarup samjha vina pamyo dukha anand समझाव्यो ते पद नमो श्री सदगुरु भगवन परम पुरुष प्रभु सदगुरु परम ज्ञान सुख ज्ञान जेने आप्यु बाननी तेने सदा प्रणाम देह छता जेनी दशा वर्ते देहाती एक ज्ञानी ना चरणमा वंदन अगणी आज्ञानी ना चरणमा वंदन अगणी हे परम कृपाळु देव जन्म जरा मरण आदि सर्व दुःखों से करनार वितराग कृष्ण मोहमान आप श्रीमद મને અંકૃપા કે આપ્યો તે અંકૃપાનો પ્રતિકાર હું સર્વથા સમક્ષ હોય આપ શ્રીમદ કંઈ પણ લેવણ સર્વથા નિષ્ફળ છું જેથી હું મન વચન કાની એકાગ્રતાથી આપના ચરણ બિંદમાં નમસ્કાર કરું છું આપની પરમ ભક્તિ અને વિતરાગ પુરુષના મૂળ ધર્મ ઉપાસના મારા હૃદય વિશે ભવ પડે તખંડ જાગૃત રહો એટલું જ માંગુ છું તે સફળ થાઓ ઓમ શાંતિ
શાંતિ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
નિત્યાનંદ
જય જિનેન્દ્ર સાહેબ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર બેટો.